Hey guys, my name is Katie and I'm making this video to announce this year's Minecraft Readathon. So fun! This will be the first video announcement that I'm making because last year I didn't have this channel. But I'm super excited to get into everything and explain everything. I will be talking about a bunch of different things, everything about the readathon in this video, so I will be putting timestamps in the description in case you just want to skip to the prompts or skip to you know, the rules of it all. The timestamps will be in the description, as I said. So first thing I want to cover about the readathon is when it will be taking place, and that it will be for the entire month of May. You can participate in your time zone. After the last day of April, when the clock hits midnight and it's officially May 1st, you can begin reading, and then it'll end after 11:59 on May 31st. As for where it's taking place, I will be hosting on the Twitter. Here it is. If you don't know what it is, it'll also be in the description. But you can check out the Twitter whenever. I'll be posting all the news there as well. Everything from this video will probably be on there, except probably a few details will just be in the video. But yeah, on Twitter, I'll hopefully be hosting some sprints throughout the month. I'm thinking about doing little mini challenges, either reading or like in real life. Not sure if I'm going to actually do that yet. And another place you can join is our Discord channel, so that will be in the description. I'll put a link to that. And basically our Discord is it's a small community. There are a few people in there. Basically on the Discord we have a bunch of different channels. We have a general chat, of course. We have channels for book recommendations. We have channels for sharing. I know that like in the past years I've seen some people make like templates for their books to write the prompts and, you know, the book that they're planning on reading. So if anybody's making those this year and you'd like to share with everybody, that would be great. You could do that in the Discord. And also, if we want to host sprints on the Discord itself instead of Twitter, anybody can pretty much do that. There's a specific channel for that. So if you can't make it to any of the sprints that I'm hosting, or I might host some sprints on the Discord. It's just kind of a more intimate thing, and we can, you know, chat back and forth about what we're reading and everything like that. So I think it's a really good outlet for that. Okay, so now I guess we'll get into the rules and everything of the readathon. So I have everything laid out in a PowerPoint presentation that will be linked in the description, and I'll post on the Twitter as well later on. It's probably posted now if you're watching this video. Yeah, it's all in a PowerPoint, so we have the rules. If I'm looking down, I'm just looking at my laptop, that's what it is. We have the title page, we have the welcome page, I just wrote a little note for you guys. And then we have the rules and how to play. So the prompts for this year are, they work similarly to last year's if you participated in last year's with potion making and everything. This year is not related to potion making, but it still has a similar flowchart format. So basically what I did was I divided the game into 3 different professions, routes, and those things are farmer, miner, and traveler. Each route has its own prompts that correspond to things you can do in the game, and I created a flowchart for each of them that you can follow along and read your books according to the prompts on the flowchart. So the first thing you want to do to begin the readathon is you'll want to look at the 3 initial prompts we have here. Now, I printed this out on black and white with black and white ink, but the PowerPoint's very nice. It's nice Minecraft-y themed green and brown colors. So it's a lot nicer than what I have here. But these are the first 3 prompts that everybody will do regardless of the route you're choosing. None of them have to do with reading, so it's kind of a quick thing, so you can just do it quick and get into your books. So the first prompt here is press E to open your inventory like in the game. And for this, I'm encouraging you to follow at Minecraft Reader on Twitter. That's our Twitter account. I put optional under there just because I know that We have a lot of people of all different ages participating. A lot of you, have kids participating in this readathon. So I didn't want to make that, I did want to make that optional because I know that not everybody has Twitter, and especially, kids don't have Twitter, things like that. But yeah, the second prompt is based on punch a tree to obtain wood, which is one of the first things you do in the game as well. And for this prompt, you are encouraged to do something that involves nature. So here I have some examples. We have go for a walk, open a window. I know that with the pandemic, it's difficult to get outside sometimes, but that's why you don't necessarily have to go outside for this prompt. Although I do encourage it if you're able to do that safely. Going outside is always nice. But yeah, you can watch a nature documentary. You can just open a window. Anything like that. You could plant something. So you don't necessarily have to leave your house. Now the third prompt is to make a crafting bench. And to do that, you have to choose an in-game profession. So one of the 3 paths, and I'm going to explain them right now. As I mentioned before, we have farmer, we have traveler, and we have miner. And each of these professions have their little advantages over the other ones. There's no teams or anything. The goal of the readathon is basically to just read as much as you want. Not a lot of pressure. You can certainly place pressure on yourself if you want to, finish an entire profession, like do all the prompts in the one profession or anything like that. If you do want more of a challenge, you could do something like that, but it's pretty much relaxed. The only rigid rule that you will want to follow, if you do want to follow the readathon the way it was designed, is to follow the flowchart format. So you can't read, you can't like skip over prompts if you want to follow it in order. But yeah, that's pretty much the biggest thing. You'll see with the advantages that I'm about to tell you about, there are some loopholes you can use to get around that. So if you want to be a farmer, that flowchart will be located on slide 6 of the PowerPoint. And your advantage is that you can replace any 3 of the farmer prompts with any 3 of the miner or traveler prompts. So like the first farmer prompt here is to craft a hoe, and to do that you have to read a book between 200 to 299 pages. And if you're like, oh well, I don't have a book I only have books that are less than 200 pages or more than 300 pages, then you can look at any of the prompts from the other flowcharts, like the miner route, and you can say, oh, well, I have a book over 500 pages, so I'll put that in its place. And you can do that for up to 3 farmer prompts. You could replace up to 3 farmer prompts. And that is your advantage. This could be good for people with a limited reading selection, if you don't have many books to choose from, if you don't have easy access to a library or something like that, or you just want to stick to books that you have at home. That might be a good choice for you. So for the miners, your flowchart is located on slide 7 of the PowerPoint, and your advantage is that you can double up on prompts. You can read 1 book to fulfill up to 3 different prompts. The only catch is that they still have to follow the flowchart order. So if you're looking at the miner flowchart here, if you have a book that fulfills this prompt and you look to the next one and see that it also has a black, white, and gray cover, you could read that book and fulfill both prompts at the same time. And you could do that with up to 3 prompts in a row. You could also move on to this prompt, which is to read a 5-star prediction. So if that book fulfills all 3, you could read that and fulfill all 3 of the prompts. This advantage could be good for people who like to read fewer books. I know not everybody reads at the same pace. Not everybody can read 10 books in a month or something. If you're just a relaxed reader and you just want to read a few books, but you still want to participate in the readathon, that could be a good path for you. If you'd like to be a traveler, your flowchart is located on slide 8, and your advantage is that after the first traveler prompt, you can do any of the traveler prompts in any order that you'd like. I have this here. It's not really a flowchart like the others, because once you do the first prompt, which is to survive the night and read an emotional book, you could pick any of these. The only catch, which I will get into later, is these. If you want to pick these, either of these prompts, you do have the option to switch professions, switch routes, and I will get into that shortly. Now it's time to look at the flowcharts, and I'll go over every prompt with you guys, so if you don't need the explanation, you could of course skip over this part. So first we have the farmer flowchart. So the first prompt is to craft a hoe, and to do that you have to read a book between 200 to 299 pages, pretty self-explanatory. So this one is to plant seeds, and to do that you have to read a collection of short stories, poems, or vignettes. This one here is to catch a fish, and to do that you have to read a book that features a specific skill. So it could be a book where a character is learning a skill, or a character is kind of like an expert at a skill. If you want to read a non-fiction book, it could be something, you know, teaching you how to do something, or teaching you even about like a specific subject, something like that. This prompt over here is to find beetroot, and this prompt is different than the others because it's not a reading prompt. It tells you to prepare some kind of meal or snack, and the reason that it's not a reading prompt is because it leads to one of the other routes. So if you see here, it says go to slide 8. So that would lead you to the traveler slide. If you wanted to move to the traveler slide. If you don't, you could always just go back to catching a fish. As long as you follow the arrows down here, and I apologize, it's cut off a little bit, but this prompt is to breed 2 animals, and to do that you have to read a book with an animal on the cover. Pretty self-explanatory. This prompt is to find coal, and that is to read part of a book at night, so it's a pretty easy one. And that's a prompt that can lead you to the miner route on slide 7 if you'd like to do that, or you could go down to cooking potatoes, which you would have to read a paperback. We have fill a bucket with water. And to do that, you have to read a book that's targeted to your age demographic, so however old you are, you know, children's, middle grade, young adult books, something like, you know, things like that, whatever age demographic you are. And then here, the last one, we have bake a cake, and to do that, you need to read a feel-good book. So any book that'll make you feel happy, any, like, just joy, a good feeling book. And the next flowchart we have is the miner flowchart. So the first prompt up here is to craft a pickaxe, and to do that you have to read a book that's between 300 and 399 pages. This one is to smelt iron, and to do that you have to read a book with black, white, and gray on the cover, all 3 of them. This is to hit bedrock, so to do that you have to read a book that's over 500 pages, so it's a little more of a challenge. But this one you could double up on prompts, so if you wanted to, I'm actually gonna add an arrow right now so that it works out. There we go, so now I added an arrow, so if you wanted to double up here, you could, if it's a book over 500 pages, you can go to this one, which is to find a spawner. And to do that, you can read a hardcover or an ebook. This prompt is to find watermelon seeds in a mine shaft, and to do that, you have to do something you've never tried before. And from there, if you'd like to switch paths, you can go to slide 6. If we come back to this side of the flowchart, we have find diamonds. And for this, you have to read a 5-star prediction, so any book you think that you're gonna love. This prompt over here is to find emerald, and to do that you will have to wear your favorite accessory or piece of clothing, favorite necklace, favorite shirt, anything like that. Just wear it. You can wear it out, wear it in your home, whatever. And here you could, if you'd like to, you could go to slide 8 for that, if you want to be a traveler. And this prompt over here, the last one I believe, is to mine obsidian. And to do that, you need to read a book that takes place in a different world from ours. Now, the last chart that I have here is for the traveler route. And as I mentioned before, it does look a little different than the others because there's no arrows, except down here. So the first prompt is to survive the night. And to do that, you want to read an emotional book. And then from there you could pick any of these in any order you want, and that could, that could help out with mood reading if you're a mood reader. So this prompt is to find a woodland mansion, and to do that you have to read a book with a building on the cover. This prompt over here is to find a jungle, and to do that you have to read a book with plants on the cover. This prompt down here is to tame a dog, and you can fulfill this by reading a book with a found family trope, meaning, a group of friends in a book. This prompt here is to loot a desert temple, and to do that you have to read a borrowed book, and you could borrow a book from a friend, from a library, anywhere. Even, if you read ebooks, you can rent an ebook, you can rent an audiobook, do anything like that. Over here we have invade an ocean temple, and to do that you'll want to read a book with historical elements in it. So this doesn't necessarily have to be like a historical fiction. It could be a nonfiction book about a historical event. It could be, contemporary fiction that mentions a historical event. This prompt here is to find a mushroom. It's my personal favorite. And to do this, you will need to read a banned book. So if you look up on the internet, like list of banned books, anything like that, books that are banned from classrooms and things like that, read any of those books and you can fulfill that prompt. And now this prompt down here is to jump into a ravine, and to do that you have to do something you've been putting off. So anything you've been putting off. You could, it could be chores, it could be homework, it could be something you have to do for work, it could be calling somebody, it could be making an appointment, anything like that. And if you'd like to, you can either pick a different prompt from the traveler route, or you could go to slide 6 and be a farmer. The last prompt over here is to find a village, and to do this you have to spend time or talk to a loved one, a friend or loved one. And of course, since we are in a pandemic, virtually counts for this too. But just, call somebody, FaceTime somebody if it's safe to do so. Go hang out with somebody. Just spend time with somebody that you love. And then after that, you can either choose to do any of the traveler prompts, or you can go to slide 7 and be a miner. So that is all for the prompts of the readathon. Anything I don't mention in the rules is something that you can just decide on your own. You can use your own judgment for that. But if you do have any questions, if you would like to follow it how I'm following it, you could definitely tweet at our account any questions you have, or DM me, or ask on the Discord, and I will get back to you shortly. I think that's everything about the readathon that you guys need to know. I'm super excited to get started. I'm super excited for May to come. I've had a lot of fun putting this all together, and I can't wait to see what books you guys are reading. And I should be posting a TBR later in the month before May, so if you want to see what I'm reading, stick around to see that. Thanks for watching, and I hope that you're as excited about the readathon as I am.